Hello, everyone. This is Chantal, the president of the Land of Brand and the leader of the Land of Brand Laboratory, or as I like to call it, the LOBoratory. And if you've never joined us before, we meet every second and fourth Wednesday of the month at 12 noon. And this is a free community at the Land of Brand where I do webinars that cover various topics in branding. So how to set yourself apart in your market and become known as the right choice for the right people. And basically these are all experiments for you. I'm not going to tell you that every single strategy is going to work for every single person, because it really depends on your business, your audience, your personal skills and talents, and how you want to be marketing yourself. So in my opinion, the only way to grow your business is to constantly be stretching your comfort zone, trying new things, and reflecting back on what works, what doesn't work, and what can be improved. So that is essentially what a experiment is trying something in your business that pushes you out of your comfort zone and seeing what that does for you, seeing what works about that, what doesn't work about that. How can you adapt things that you're seeing in the market to be more effective for you. Today, we're going to be talking about live events, which is a perfect example of something that is probably pretty terrifying for many of you, but can also be a really huge builder for your business. Or, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's one of those strategies that does not work for everyone. Let's go ahead and dive in. So today is how hosting live events can raise your brand profile. So if you've been in my community for the last couple of months, then you know that I have my Brand Your Awesome Live coming up in December. This year it's in Nashua, New Hampshire. Last year it was in New York City. People ask, why would I go from New York City to Nashua, New Hampshire? And the reason is, last year I was pregnant. This year I have an infant. Much easier to travel when you're pregnant than it is with an infant. So I'm doing it closer to home this year, and who knows what I'll do next year. We will kind of wait and see. So far, doing it in New Hampshire is actually exceeded my expectations. I haven't had the event yet, but as far as excitement, the number of attendees, everything is just, it's been phenomenal. And I'm actually really excited to be bringing this kind of information to a more rural, business environment like New Hampshire. So obviously, I wouldn't be doing this again if it wasn't a strategy that worked for me personally. It's something that I think really raises the profile of your brand and adds credibility, trust, and a whole slew of other benefits that we're going to be talking about to have a live event, to be speaking on your own stage instead of only speaking on other stages, or maybe you haven't spoken before. And you might think that you have to be a polished speaker, that you have to be really experienced and have been on a lot of different stages in order to do your own live event, and that's not necessarily the case. I previously had only spoken twice for local networking groups before I actually did my own live event. And it was a full day affair. I did not, completely bomb. It actually turned out really well. And, I lend that I'm not completely inexperienced in speaking, because obviously I do these webinars. I've been doing them webinars probably every week for the last 4 years. So to me, that's where I got my experience. And you might have experience from a previous job. You might have experience from doing webinars as well. Just basically, you have to understand your content, understand how to teach, those kinds of things. And I would say that having your own live event is definitely not out of the question. All right, I'm just making sure that there's no people in chat saying, we can't hear you, because I always worry, because you never know. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? So what is a live event, obviously, and does it have to be a big to-do? Becoming a local or internet celebrity, and what kind of investment to expect and the payoff, because that was my biggest question when it came to doing a live event. I had decided that I wanted to create my own live event I actually decided a few years ago that I wanted to do it, but the timing wasn't right. You know, I was having first babies, that kind of thing. You'll notice that babies are a recurring theme in my life right now. So it's kind of caused a little bit of upheaval in the last couple of years in my business. That's to be expected. And so I did my first one last year, and you know, the biggest question for me was, how much is it going to cost? What is it really going to do for me? Is it going to have a return on investment? And unfortunately, it was one of those things where, you know, I just had to kind of wait and see, because there is no way to predict what the return on investment is actually going to be. And we'll talk about, actually didn't put too many slides together this morning, but I'll try to remember to talk about my experience last year versus this year so far, because obviously I haven't had the event this year yet. So, what is a live event? So, you know, up until now, my business has been completely online. It seems like most people start their business offline locally, and then they move it online. And then you have people like me, or people that are, you know, have these goals to have a online business. So from the get-go, my business has been virtual. I've been doing webinars. I've been doing teleseminars. I've been, you know, keeping a blog and my newsletter, and all of my clients are all over the world. I literally just got off the phone with my, I have a client in Holland. And you know, it's amazing. It's really amazing with the technology these days, what you're able to do and who you're able to talk to and work with, even though you're so far apart. And it's a beautiful thing, and it just opens up all this opportunity. On the other hand, it doesn't necessarily mean that in-person business building is obsolete, and it shouldn't be. Sometimes it pays while everyone's doing one thing for you to do the opposite. And I think that at this point, we've expanded so much virtually. So many businesses have come online, and social networking and social media, all of that. People are craving more personal interactions. Kind of like we've kind of reached that pinnacle, that maximum, that critical mass, and now things are going to start moving back to being more and more intimate. So doing live events right now is a good idea. People want to be in an engaged community. They don't just want to be anonymous. So right now it does pay for you to be more in-person and more local in addition to your online business. Have I given up on my online business? Absolutely not. That's still growing. I'm still putting a lot of effort into growing my list and building relationships and selling my virtual packages. And I've also started adding more of an in-person aspect to my business, because what I have found is that, one, I love speaking. I love teaching. That is, first and foremost, that is one of the greatest joys in my business, which is why you guys see me doing all of these ridiculous webinars that, you know, they're all free, they're all really good content, and just because I love teaching. Like, this is food for me. I love it. So this doing in-person events, and I'm going to be having more in-person offerings. So, you know, come to my house and let's do your brand kind of thing, or let's do a retreat or that kind of thing, and seeing people face to face is going to become a larger part of my business, because that's what I'm finding I'm really, really enjoying right now. So having live events, you create more intimacy, more trust, and a closer knit community. There's something different about seeing someone in person and spending a day with them than, you know, seeing someone for an hour on a webinar. You know, really until just recently, you didn't actually see the person on the webinars. Usually you just saw their screen and heard them talk. But, you know, now Zoom is predominantly, like, I see most people are doing their webinars on Zoom like this, so you can see both my screen and me. So this creates a layer of intimacy that we didn't have before, but it's not the same as, you know, if you and I were in person and able to hug. It makes a big difference. When you have your own event, instead of being just a speaker on someone else's stage, and I say just, you know, kind of sarcastically, because no one is ever just a speaker, but you are the attraction. You are the celebrity. You are the reason people are there. You have curated all of this content and this amazingness for that audience, and they're there to see you. It creates a completely different dynamic when you are the one hosting the event and you're the one that have brought all of these people together. Because again, it just raises your profile. It also raises your confidence level. When you see all the people that will come to see you, it makes you feel a little badass. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not trying to be braggy here, but it really does. Like it is such a good feeling to have this community around you that are united by your message, that are excited to see you in person. It's just a really, really good feeling, and it raises how everyone in the room sees you as the person that's bringing all of this great people together. And having your own live event is also a great way to get in front of influencers, either local influencers, other people that are in your market. You can, sponsorships, if you're doing sponsorships for your event, it's another great way to reach out to other people, potential partners, and partner on the event. Get them to come and maybe speak a little bit, or show up in front of your audience, and creating personal connections in that way. So it can also raise your profile in your niche, because not everyone's doing live events. They're considered, they're a little bit more challenging, obviously, because there's, the logistics and the cost and the will people travel, like all of those things to take into consideration. If you're the person doing that in your niche, it definitely sets the bar pretty high. So what I have found, this is going to sound really, I don't want to sound like a, what do you call it, like a big head. But this is what has been happening in, now that I'm doing this closer to home, and so my event right now, it's in a couple of weeks, and I've been networking for the last few weeks, which is something that I've never really networked much in my business, because I pretty much have hated it up until now. I just felt just weird. I'm pretty introverted, shy. I don't really like talking to people. So networking was definitely outside of my comfort zone. I don't know if it's just where I am, or where I am physically, location wise, or where I am like in my mindset now that I've been in business for almost 8 years. Like your self-growth kind of goes off the charts when you're a business owner, because you have to constantly be stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things that most of the population doesn't do or does not like to do. But for some reason, the networking that I've been doing the last few weeks, it's been phenomenal. I am meeting the most amazing people. I've found that around here, at least, people are so supportive of each other. People are so friendly. Everyone admits that networking is awkward. Like, it's like the elephant is out of the room kind of thing. And I don't feel weird like I did before. Like I said, that could be maybe just the people around here just extra awesome. Or it could just be that, my mindset is completely different, and I've kind of looking at networking in a different light than I used to. So I can't really answer that right now. Maybe it's a little bit of both. So some of the things that I've been hearing since I've been networking and inviting people to the event, most of the people that are coming to the event this year are local here from my networking activities. Yes, there are some people from my online community coming. I'm really excited to meet you in person. Some of you I've already met. And then there's also going to be a lot of local folks. So that kind of also answers the questions of, do you have to have a big list in order to do an event? Not really. I wouldn't say that's a requirement if you have other avenues for filling it. So this year, I'm sponsoring a couple of events where I'm showing up as a resource for friends that are speaking at their event. I'm showing up as a resource and inviting people to my event. I have my promotional partners, basically my friends, that have local audiences that are inviting people from their list to come. And like I said, I'm 25% full right now for the event, which is amazing this stage in the game. Most people sign up last second. So the fact that I'm already at 50% capacity, all local people, I've never met these people before. It doesn't have to do with my list. It doesn't have to do with how successful I am online. It really has to do with how I'm showing up, who I'm talking to, and making that invitation to come to the event. So I wouldn't say you have to have a list in order to do it, but you do have to have really good content and know your brand, know what people are going to get out of it, because that's the only reason why people are signing up, is because they see the value right off the bat when I talk about it. So you have to have that message down. And then I would say, yes, you absolutely could fill a room, even just with local networking. All right, so things that I've been hearing. So when I say, have you heard of blank, that's actually what I'm that's my goal for this event, is not necessarily to create a lot of revenue, though obviously that's a hope and an expectation. But really what I want people to say is, have you heard of Holly? Start raising that profile where people are talking about you and your business when you're not in the room. So people like to create buzz around you, to create excitement around your business and your expertise, and get people talking about it, people referring to you. Some things I am hearing is, I need to connect you with blank. So people are already referring just based on, seeing that this business owner, which is me, is, creating this event. It sounds really cool. I really like what you're doing. I need to connect you with so-and-so. So getting more referrals, getting more, connecting with influencers, that kind of thing. Getting people saying, I need to bring you to my clients. Now that they have a better understanding of what you do, they're going to want to refer you to their clients, or at least in my case, where my business is very complementary to other types of businesses. You can find those kinds of partners too. Depending on what business you have, and every single business we can find this, there's going to be people that complement what you do and that you can partner with and share clients and that kind of thing. And then, when are you doing this again? People get really excited about your event and they want to go to the next time. I believe that if I were to do this event again next year, it's going to be even bigger, because there's already going to be buzz around it. People are already going to know about it, and they're going to be sad that they missed it this year, because everyone's going to be talking about this event. That's the kind of buzz that you want to create, and that's very achievable. Even this year, like I said, this year has been so much easier to fill than last year, and I think part of it's because there was already the buzz in my community about it's coming back. Some people missed it last year, and also your message better. Your what happens at the event after you've done it, so you can talk about that, and it makes it much easier to get people excited about coming. So these are just some of the things that you might hear if you're doing a live event. They're all really good things. They're all very exciting. Raises your profile, and it kind of makes you a local celebrity, really. Because not, like I said, not every business is doing live events and or can do live events, because there's just so many factors. So other side effects might be media coverage. So right now I'm pitching newspapers, radio, TV for, basically doing press release on how this event's coming to Nashua, and creating, buzz in that way, creating excitement about this event. Other side effects might be speaking engagements. When people see you speak, they're going to want to invite you to speak to their audience, if your content is good, which it should be. And your next event, like I said, can be even bigger, because once you've established that you can, do a live event and not die, things get easier after that. It's kind of like, after you have the second kid, it's much easier than the first kid, because you kind of know what you're doing. So this time, since this is the second event I'm doing, everything has been going so much smoother. I am so less stressed out. And it just, a lot of the questions aren't there. It's just, once you've done it once, it becomes much easier. So once you've done it, you'll probably be hooked and you want to do more. And when I say live event, it doesn't necessarily have to be like this huge to-do. So I'm just going to talk about these two types of events. I'm sure there's other ones, but these are two that I've done and am doing. Sorry, you got to yawn, I promise. I'm boring myself here. Either that or it said I got up at like 4:30 this morning. So the first type of event is like the conference style event, which is what the Brand Your Awesome Live event is. So at this type of event, it's a higher production value, a higher cost out of pocket. But it's also, creates higher energy, increased credibility when you're creating this, this experience for people, and which is a lot different than the second, which is a second option, which is a meetup. There's also more opportunities to partner with sponsors and offset that cost, because it's more there's more production value, more excitement around it. Sponsors it's easier to get them on board for this type of event. And when you have sponsors, it offsets that out-of-pocket cost. And there's a greater sales opportunity because the conference style lends more to being able to make some kind of pitch from the stage, or people getting enough time with you that they do, ask how they can work with you at the end. Where a meetup is usually more shorter engagement. It's usually not sales oriented, though I guess it could be. A meetup is more for community building than making, a profit. So the first type is this conference. The second type is the meetup. So meetups are super cheap, low risk, costs I think $20 a month to create one. Meetup itself actually, the people coming to it come from Meetup. So if they're already going to meetups, I think when I put up my meetup page, I got 20 people sign up within, just a couple of days, because that's just how Meetup works. But it may take more time to get traction. So I just started my meetup, which was last week or the week before. And I'm just going to be doing like a once a month lunch and learn, basically using the same content that I'm sharing with you guys. So it's the Trailblazers Marketing Laboratory. And I'm using the same presentation, same slide that have already created over the last 4 years, just kind of handpicking the content based on what I'm finding people are interested in. My first one, there was 2 people at it. Woohoo! And, I remember back in the day when I was first starting to do teleseminars and first starting to start marketing myself, and, having 2 people was like really depressing. I thought it was great, because now that I have experience in knowing, yes, there was 2 people this time, the next time there's going to be 4. After that, there's going to be 8. After that, there's going to be 16. So it's just going to grow over time, and I'm okay with that. And it was actually really good to have that conversation just with those 2 people. They loved the content that I shared. We had a really good conversation afterwards about their business and doing some kind of laser coaching. And both of them are going to show up next time, and they're going to bring people. You have to put yourself out there and do things and be awesome and show, even those 2 people how great you are, and word will get out and things will grow. And it's just a perfect example of how these things grow organically. But I just thought that was funny. You guys might like hearing, yes, I can get, 200 to 400 people on a webinar, but only 2 people show up for my meetup. And that's okay, because we all start somewhere. And the other benefit of the meetup is that it allows you to test content in a face-to-face environment. So just so you guys can kind of see my strategy here, why am I doing meetups, when only a couple people are coming, when I can do webinars and have a couple hundred people coming? And here's why. Like I said, I want to do more in-person offers. I really want to have people come over to my house and work on their brand. If you're interested in doing that, let me know. Because when we bought this house, it was with that in mind. I have the space for it. I have like a very retreat environment. And I love working with people hands-on. I love that face-to-face. I love the, digging, having 2 days designated just to working on your business. I just think it's so much fun and gives me and them just like so much fulfillment, and I want to do more of that. So it's easier to do that if I have more of a face-to-face community. So the meetups are, they're going to be once a month, going to very low risk, very low cost. I already have the content done, so it's really low time investment. But I'll start to build this face-to-face community around myself where, you know, making those kinds of offers will make more sense. And since I want to continue doing live events, so this is my second annual Brand Your Awesome Live, and I plan next fall in doing, I want to do a 3-day event. I'm starting to build that community now so that, you know, I can do more higher production value events and have you know, local people that can come to them, as well as my more virtual community, to kind of help, you know, balance out those two sides of my business. So that's, you know, that's the longer term goal, as you guys can see, like how this all works together. So, all right, baby's waking up. I can hear him upstairs. So we're gonna be moving along a little bit quickly. So the money talk. So people ask, you know, how much does it cost? This, like I said, this was my biggest question, because I had no idea about live events. I had never done one before. I'd never had a friend that did one before until I'd already decided to host my own. And now I have all kinds of friends that do them. It's funny how that works. So a 1-day event, around $5,000 or $6,000. Can be more or less depending on the type of experience you want to create. Like I said, when I did mine in New York, I think we ended up, it was around, I think it was $6,000. Here in New Hampshire, I think it's more between like $3,000 and $5,000. Because I had my budget set from the New York budget of about $5,000, I'm kind of putting a little bit more production value into this event, especially because it's also my second one. I feel like I need to kind of up the game a little bit, but things are less expensive here in New Hampshire, so I'm able to actually do more with the same budget that I had last year. And then a 3-day event, from what I've heard, is between like $20,000 and $30,000. Again, depends on the production value. It could be $100,000. It also depends on how many people you have coming. My events, I'm trying to get about 50 people to Brand Your Awesome Live, because I feel like that's a good, it's not, it's still intimate enough without being too big. And I just feel like that's a good round number. Last year in New York, so yeah, I told you I'd share some challenges between last year and this year. So last year in New York, my goal is to get 50 people. I didn't have any sponsors, which are a big part of getting people to an event, because your sponsors invite their people, and you know, that's how you fill a lot of the seats, and it also offsets the costs. So last year I had goose egg with sponsors, no sponsors. And there's a variety of reasons behind that. I learned a few lessons, and so everything was out of pocket. I had to get everyone there myself. I did have friends, of course, who were fantastic and brought people. I love you guys. They saved my butt. So I only had about 35 people last year. This year, I have all my sponsorships were sold out in the first week. Like I said, I learned some lessons and know how to structure them now. So all my sponsorships sold out in the first week. The event will be completely paid for between the sponsorships and the ticket sales. The event will be completely paid for before the event actually happens, which is a really good load off, because I don't have to worry about selling anything. I can just enjoy being there, because I haven't, you know, sunk money into something that's not going to work. So that is just kind of one aspect to take into account with costs, is that it's actually very possible to break even before you go into the event, and then it takes a lot of the pressure off to feel like you need to sell something at the event. Obviously, yes, I will be selling something at the event, and hopefully I'll make money, hopefully people will buy, but the close ratio can vary a lot at this kind of event. What's really funny is that when I went into my event last year, I thought that a typical close ratio was 25%, and I think I was at like 23%, and I was really down on myself because I thought that I was below average. It turns out for a 1 day, especially your first, 10% is actually really, really good. So that really put things into perspective. And that's going to range so much depending on who's in the room, how good you are at selling, you know, how you structured the event. My content, I had obviously tested a lot through webinars and that kind of thing, and working with my clients. So my content was really, really rock solid, and that's why, you know, people just got so much out of the event that they really wanted to continue on working with me. So I just wanted to let you know that there's no cut and dry, this is what you're going to make. It's really going to, and once you do your first event, then you have more of a benchmark of how you'll do. This year, I think my numbers are going to be completely different because my audience is completely different. The content is going to be obviously branding, so same angle, but I have no, I can't say, okay, well, this year I'm going to do 25% as well. I might get 0. It's still until you know, maybe next year I'll know more because I might host it in the same place, and then I might be able to guess better. But that's why events are really tough, because it's always a risk and it's always a learning experience, and you learn a lot about yourself in doing it. So my goal this year is really, like I said, I already broke even on the event before it happened, so I'm not actually as worried about sales. What my main goal is this year is just building my profile in this community, building that close-knit community, building that tribe for the Land of Brand, which is a completely different energy than trying to sell. So I actually feel really good about this. Like my goal is to get influencers to this event, people that are referral partners to this event, just so that they can see, you know, what the Land of Brand is all about, and become a part of that. So that, you know, the payoff might be monetary, it might be relationships. It's all depending on your goals and how you're going to go about that. All right, baby's getting really mad upstairs. So, all right. So recap, live events can be super involved, or they can be super easy like a meetup. The costs are going to vary widely depending on your goals and the experience you want to create. And the payoff goes well beyond dollar signs, though obviously dollar signs are nice too. But don't go into the event only thinking about the money. Think about the relationships you're going to be building, the community you're going to be building, and you'll go much farther when you have that broader perspective in why you're doing the event. So this is the last LOBoratory of 2016. If you guys have been with me for a few years now, you know I usually take December off as far as you know, creating content and that kind of thing. So I like to kind of freshen myself up and then start with the holidays and everything, be able to spend time with my family. Obviously, a lot of my attention right now is going to my event. So I will see you all in 2017. If you have topics that you want to see next year, let me know now, because I'll be planning. Also, what I do in December is I really focus a lot on planning my next year. So if you have topics you want to see, don't hesitate to, or don't wait to email them to me now at holly@thelandofbrand.com to make sure that they get on the calendar for first quarter of next year. I am still taking branding projects, so don't think I've closed up shop. So if you want to get your branding and your messaging down before the beginning of the year so that you can hit the beginning of the year running, contact me, because there's still, I still have, I think it's like 2 or 3 spots available for one-on-one clients to finish up and to finish by the end of December. And yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions about this topic, email me, holly@thelandofbrand.com. And otherwise, I will see you in a little over a month, unless you're coming to the event, in which case I will see you in a couple weeks. So have an awesome day, everyone. Bye.